Salute to you all. The brave never fall. We all know what it feels like to feel like a person who is undervalued, unappreciated, and saw as a low priority to other people around us, especially people that we feel are our friends, family members, people close to us, very close co-workers, bosses, people in your church, people in your community, in your charity, people in your volunteer service, in your school, classmates, teachers, doctors, lawyers. We all have relationships with people that we classify as a working relationship, working meaning an ongoing, developing, emotionally charged relationship. Alignment with whoever that person is or group of people is extremely important in defining for yourself how much of a priority you believe you should be, and the respect and the boundaries you have for yourself as an individual go hand in hand with that. The lower you value yourself, that's the level they will meet you. It's hard to value someone who devalues themselves. It's hard to put them on a higher tier of value when somebody is clearly undervaluing themselves, or they're just a low quality person to begin with, a person who is consumed with being a victim, thinking about themselves primarily first, which is a narcissist. We deal with these people all the time. They're people that we call toxic. They're not good people. And a lot of times we can categorize these people as some of them have absolutely no hope of changing at all. They are stuck in their ways. They are extreme narcissists. And you have the spectrum of people who can be redeemed and come out of that cloud, and hopefully on their own free will. You can't expect people, not every person out there who needs help are willing to take it, even if you handed it to them on a silver platter. They have to want and accept with open arms and embrace the fact that they are capable of changing. And if these people aren't capable of doing it, their value is slowly dropping. It's just like a stock in a business. If your business isn't valuable to the consumers, to the public, your stock will drop. It doesn't matter how much passion you put behind it, what message you're putting out there for the world to see. Your stock will drop and you will become a devalued company. No one will want to invest in you at that point. What are you offering? What is the promise of the future that you're trying to present to us? What can you give us? Why should we waste our valuable time and money and efforts investing into your company? Now, take the company out and put in place a person who has been in your life maybe for 2 or 3 months, 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 decades. It doesn't matter the time limit. You take timetables out of the equation, and now you only insert what is happening in the moment. It doesn't matter what people said to you last week, and it doesn't matter what they promise you next week. What matters is what is going on in the present moment, and what are they offering? What is their value? It's a practice that I never thought about until recently. A few years ago, I had to wake up. I had my awakening, and I woke up and became the person who is developing even to this day into the best version of myself. But one of the things that I thought about as I looked in the mirror after I had woken up and I started trying to figure out the process of where I was supposed to be going, I was a little bit discombobulated and trying to figure out who I was. This fog I came out of, this lifelong embarrassment of an individual. And knowing that the road started now, and this was a perfect opportunity to seize upon it. One of the things that I had to question was, how valuable are you to those around you? And I knew, without a doubt, my value was extremely, extremely low. Self-admittedly, it was extremely low. And it was low because I had no self-respect for myself first. I had no self-love, no self-discipline, no confidence, no respect, nothing, no self-control. I was a complete disaster. But it wasn't who I was. It was a fog, a cloud over me that hung to me like a shroud. and just would not let me go until I wanted to change. Again, we go back to you can't change until you're ready to change. That moment has to be made up by the individual. You can do all the convincing that you want. You can do all the manipulating that you want. You can do all the bribing that you want, the begging, the pleading, the crying, the sobbing, the arguing, the drama. Doesn't matter. If that person is not ready to change, nothing, absolutely nothing, period, will happen. That situation will remain toxic. The relationship will remain strained. And you will find yourself in a loop, an endless, infinite loop of a cycle of being a low value, low priority person, not to everyone else, but to yourself first. Remember, we have to start this process with ourselves. Our process is started by awakening and realizing the value that we have, the potential that we have, even if it's not there in that present moment. When we start to realize these inevitable outcomes that we feel like will come. And that's all you're giving yourself. You're giving yourself a little bit of hope. You're not getting this feeling that you can be better if you don't believe you can be better. You're getting this feeling that you're better because you know you can be better. You owe it to yourself and the people around you who do value you, even no matter if they value you at a low level, because even at a low level, people still will be in your life. These people are special people because these are the people who love you unconditionally. Even the people who loved you when you're unconditionally screwed up will love you unconditionally because of that. They know that there's something in you that will eventually change. They may not be able to express that with words. They may have looked like they've given up on you, but they will always be there. It's a very small group of people, though. It takes special people to see that in others. It's called empathy, compassion, but primarily empathy. If you're empathetic with people, you tend to love unconditionally a little easily and freely than other people who don't have any empathy, that lean towards a narcissistic spectrum of life. As a human being, they are incapable of attaching themselves and aligning themselves to people with any level of value because they don't know the value they have for themselves. Their value is stuck in this endless loop of self-love in the wrong direction. They love themselves because all they care about is surviving and getting through life. They're not thriving and getting through life. They're surviving. They're surviving themselves. They're surviving the decisions they make, the people they push away. They're not looking at the fact that there are people in their lives that could go away at any moment. They take people for granted. They use people as tools. These are very narcissistic, toxic people. You know what I say? Jettison them. Get rid of them. Link in the description to the prior podcast that goes with this one, talking about jettisoning people when you have to. They offer no value to your life. When you have a high priority for your life, you start seeking out the people who are at your level and higher. The people below you have a place in your life too, because you can help these people raise their stock, raise their value. Get them to understand that they have self-love and self-control, respect, discipline. That's where coaches come in. That's where people like me who are empathetic come in. We help the people with the low value. We want to raise that value up because everybody can raise it again, but it has to come to a self-realization, a self-awakening by an individual to say, there is more in me and I would love to raise my value. I see enough in myself to know that I deserve to give myself the best opportunity to become a high value person because I have other people around me that I want to keep in my life and they have high value. They love me unconditionally and I don't want to let these people down by taking them for granted. Starts with me first. Got to get myself fixed first. But I have these people in mind. I don't forget about them. I don't take them for granted. They're nice, great, beautiful pieces to my life. They're integral to me going forward in a positive manner. If they all go away, I don't have a codependent relationship with anyone. I can get through it alone. But I love having these people in my life. That's what it's all about. That's when you know you have high value and you have an opportunity to keep raising that bar and raising that bar and raising that bar. And then in turn, you're helping other people. When you're walking your path and you're looking down the path and you can see your flags of hope that you've planted, You also are looking around at other people who need your help. They need your wisdom. They need your empathy. They need your unconditional love. And they'll tell you this. They won't clam up. They won't hide in the shadows. They won't be manipulative little trolls who are running behind you trying to stab you in the back whenever chance they get because they're using you as a tool. They're going to take your knowledge and actually apply it to themselves to raise their stock higher because they know they deserve better for themselves. That's how you make yourself a high value person. You just refuse to lower your bar for yourself, for anyone, or for anything, or for any place. It's your life, and you understand the value of your life. You understand that even though life can be extremely unfair to you, you can still get through it with grace, gratitude. You can go through it knowing, yes, I've had a bad hand handed to me, but I should be appreciative that I'm even still drawing breath. I need to be appreciative of this person here, this thing I have here, this place that I have here. Because at any moment, all three of those things can go away at the snap of a finger. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. You were barely guaranteed yesterday. The moment that you have in front of you is a moment that is precious. It's valuable. Your time is valuable. We're talking about value here. Embracing your life as a high value and a priority. If you don't have that within you, if you look in the mirror and you see low value, you can't even look yourself in the mirror, that's a problem. It's a serious problem. And the people who can look themselves in the mirror and then turn around and be unconditionally troll-like, tool-seeking people who are just leeching on to other people to just suck them dry of their life. And then when they're done, you're discarded. That's what a narcissist does. That's what a toxic person does. But you have to understand that these people are victims in themselves, even if they don't realize that. And they want you to be a victim too. Hence the discard. After you discard it, what do you feel like? You feel like a victim. You feel like you've been raped emotionally and mentally. You feel drained. You feel like your soul's been ripped out when somebody you thought had high value turns out low value. The only way you can really figure that out is you have to understand and believe in yourself to know that your value is so high. You can seek these people out. You can see them from a mile away. You won't even allow them to get in your bubble. And the people who are in your bubble that become low value and toxic at the same time, discard it. Not discard it the way you think what a narcissistic, toxic person discards you, but we're talking about jettison. We're saying, could you go away for a little bit until you figure your stuff out? A narcissist will tell you to go away, and they want you, once they're done with you, they're done with you. Jettison, I always say there's an opportunity the person can, when they're jettisoned, I always look at it like they're thrown out of a plane. They have a parachute. You're not throwing them out without any harness or anything. You're saying there's always a chance you can come back into my life. But you got to come back in at a higher value and meet me and align with my values and my principles and my boundaries and respect me, or you will be jettisoned again. And this time probably for good, because we don't make the same mistakes over and over and over again. We don't get caught in an endless loop of tragedy and drama. Be drama free. Never invest in anyone who is not invested in you. And to invest in anyone, you have to see that their stock is high. To make them a priority, you have to make sure that your time, your valuable time in life, and each moment is going to be met with high value, quality time with other people, with things and places that you visit. You don't have time to waste any moments in life. Every moment is valuable. When you're getting your small victories every day, those are valuable victories, and you don't want to waste your time not getting those small victories dealing with people with low value that don't value themselves, and they certainly don't value you. They'll take you for granted. They'll strip you free of every good thing about yourself, and they will discard you. You have to protect yourself against stuff like that. And the only way to really do it is you just don't get involved with these people. You're better than that. It doesn't matter. You don't owe these people anything. And it's a sad state of affairs when we get to a point in life where we feel like we do owe people certain things, but we don't. You only owe anything to yourself. And if you raise your quality of life and you know that you're a good person and you know you're doing the right things and you have empathy and you're coming from a place of self-love and self-respect, you will inevitably start attracting people with higher value. People will invest in you without you even realizing they've already invested in you, and they will raise you up even higher. Your momentum will start going forward. Those small victories will turn into big victories. You'll start living the life you want to live instead of living the life other people want you to live while they're stomping your head into the mud. That's not your story. That's not your life. You deserve to be able to wake up every day and smile and know that you're in control of your life, not other people. You have a right to stand up against anyone and say, I'm me. If you don't like it, bye. Here's your harness. Let's get on the plane. You can jump out, pull the parachute if you want. But I'm done with this conversation. Sadly, in society, I think a lot of people will wake up every morning and they get their coffee, they sit down in front of their computers or they get in front of their phones, and they feel like they're connected with all these people because they have 500 friends on Facebook, they have 1,000 followers on Instagram, and they have 10,000 followers on Twitter, and they interact with all these people, and suddenly they feel like they're important. They're more important than anyone else because they know all these people. They're getting all these feedback. It feeds their ego. It makes them feel like their value is up. Their stock is up. Their priority is amazing. Everybody wants to interact with these people. They become big, boisterous, full of themselves, narcissistic, toxic people overnight because they're getting all the attention from the wrong place. The problem is with getting the attention from low value people, especially people that you don't even know or interact with in person, is that you lose that physical connection of being able to communicate with somebody face to face. And I think this is a huge problem with a lot of people these days, which makes this relevant to this conversation, is that the art of communication is extremely important in your value. Have you ever talked to somebody where it's just almost impossible to have a conversation with them? They won't let you get half a sentence out. They're super defensive. Before you can even say anything, their response is already coming out of their mouth before you can even finish a thought. Very quick to get to drama, to arguments, disagreements. Never apologize for anything. If you don't agree with them, you're wrong. And there's no compromise. There's no handshake at the end. There's no hug that says, good conversation. These people lack self-respect for themselves in a certain way, because you have to think, if you really, really believed in yourself and what you thought, why would you care about anyone else's opinion? Why wouldn't you just sit there and listen to the other person until they finish their argument or their point of view, and then you rebuttal? And this is one of the things where I bump into people all the time, where you kind of get a sense that they might have a lower level of value for themselves than you may realize. Because they seem so defensive that it almost comes as if they're unsure of themselves. They don't know how to articulate the fact that they may be wrong, that there is an opposing point of view, and they're so bullheaded and just staring down the tunnel of their own vision that they cannot see that by not listening to you and not communicating properly, or not communicating at all, they're diminishing their value because you're not learning anything about the other person. A person with empathy is always willing to listen to other people and take in the knowledge and understand that the more people they talk to and interact with, regardless if they disagree with them or not, you're gaining knowledge about how to communicate in an effective way with other people, especially people with high value. This is where the cookie crumbles, where people have been on social media and they've had all these conversations with these people, these random people. A lot of them are low value. They've let their ego go to their head, and then they get in front of somebody with really high value, and they either A, don't even realize this person has high value because they don't interact enough with people in real life, or don't interact with people at all in the proper way because it's always about them. The narcissist is the person who is, I'm always right. It's about me. You are lucky to even be in my life. I don't care if you leave my life, even though these people, they don't really even know what they want. So you have these people who are in front of people of high quality, And instead of inviting them into their life and listening and taking in knowledge and not understanding how this person got to be high quality, they don't recognize the high quality because they don't even know where they fall on the spectrum. They believe they're higher than what they actually are when they're actually lower. I can actually tell you that was part of my problem for a very long time. I actually thought, looking back on it, that I was a higher value than I actually was. And I wasn't. I was a low quality person for a long time. Not because I was narcissistic or toxic or anything. It's because of my decision making and my lack of self-love and self-discipline and self-control and respect I had for myself. They were absent from my life. It was about me. Not so much in a narcissistic way, but in a selfish way. I thought about others. I cared about others. But I was lacking the true empathy that I needed to raise that quality up. I wasn't aware, and let's get back to that. I wasn't woke. I wasn't aware of where I fit in that spectrum of quality, of value. I was ignorant to the fact that I didn't know shit when I thought I knew everything. I wasn't interested in learning anything from anyone else other than what I already knew. It was my opinion. It was what I wanted. I thought I was alpha. I thought I was important. And I found out the hard way by things crumbling around me and me not understanding why that was happening. And then eventually I had an awakening. I woke up and I realized in that moment I was blaming myself for so many things that I had no control over. And I was inviting in all this negativity. I was blaming this person for what happened in my life. I was blaming this event. I was blaming that place and this thing and that person and this situation and that memory and this bad thing happened. I just remember being like, I've allowed all this to affect me. And why? Because all it's done is crush me from the inside out. And it's made me a demon. I felt like a gargoyle just stuck on the top of a building and trapped in stone. And when I finally broke through and I was able to fly off that building and land and turn back into a normal person, it was the most enlightening thing I have ever gone through, because instantly when I woke up, my value went from low to somewhere manageable where I knew I could build on it. It wasn't nowhere near high, but I got it to a place where I was like, okay, this feels good because now I have a new fresh start. I'm right in the middle of value. I can either go down again or I can only go up. I'm like, well, let's just do the stuff that makes you go up. Unfortunately, when you do stuff like that, people don't like it because that's too abrupt of a change. And I will admittedly say that, unfortunately, when you have these moments where you feel like your value has gone up, people will misinterpret that as almost the same qualities you had when you were being selfish. They will say, because when you do this, now you have to start going to people and saying, you remember when I didn't care about this person? Well, now I really don't care about this person. It's not funny, but it's horrible because there is a piece of you that knows you don't really need certain people in your life, especially if they're not really bringing high value to you. Even when your value is low, you still want somewhat of a higher value to you, but you just attract the level that you're at, right? So if you're low value, you're going to have low value people around you. And eventually you're like, oh, I wish I could have just a little bit higher value of person. And that's part of the awakening process. The people, the places, and the things in my life dictated that awakening. Even in my marriage, there were certain things that I was doing in my marriage that dictated the awakening. And I'm taking responsibility for myself. There are things that she did that helped facilitate that. It's always like that in a marriage. But I'm looking at my responsibility. And there was a lot of things that I did that made me wake up. I had to step out of my body and look at myself and say, okay, examine yourself. Let's really do an autopsy on who you are from head to toe, inside and out, mind, heart, soul, the body. Let's do an autopsy and figure out who the hell you are, because this person is about to die. This version of you is dead, and when he dies, we're going to do an autopsy. The problem is it was a slow death, because once you start this awakening process, the awakening part is just the beginning. Again, it's an abrupt thing. Now you kind of like awaken. Again, if you haven't listened to my Jettison podcast, link in the description, and I'll talk about my awakening process and how it kind of how it moved forward. But I remember the one thing that happened was that I knew instantly I wanted to change a lot of things, and I wanted to change them quickly because there was no need to wait on certain things. And one of the things I knew I needed to change immediately was my empathy. It was my empathy, because I knew if I could start feeling what other people are feeling and really tune in on that and tune in on my intuition and not block it out, because I've always had empathy. I just chose to block it out. One of the ways I did it was that if I could get away and I can play my games and watch TV and eat and go work out and have my beers after work. It was just all a distraction for me facing the truth. And I got to the point where I didn't want any more distractions. And it took a long time for me to get there. The wanting to do this was immediate. The action of it was much more difficult because you're stuck in a lifestyle that you're currently in. And when you're married and you have a child with special needs, in my case, you can't just say, goodbye, I'm gone. So what do? You try to do the smart thing. You try to gradually show people some things are about to change. And I had some conversations with my wife. I had conversations with my friends. I had conversations with my family. I had conversations with myself. And I was trying to tell people, I feel a little different. I'm working through some stuff. You can be patient with me. You will like this new version. Here's the problem. You're talking to a lot of these people who you've attracted on a lower level. You're talking to a lot of people and trying to tell these people you're changing, but these people were invited in your life when you were on a lower level of value. Now, I'm not saying that my wife was lower level or my family members. I'm not saying that at all. They were on a level of where I was at when I was with them. So they only see me. This is not so much about them. Again, this is about you. We're taking ownership of yourself. We're not worrying about their value. They saw me as a level of low value because that's exactly what I was. So in turn, everybody treated me as low value. So to have to raise yourself above that, it mimics almost the low value qualities in a way, because now you have to really be selfish, but in a positive way. You're switching that little bit of a narcissistic quality and selfishness. Now that selfishness is turning into self-love. And that balance is hard for people to recognize, because now I am putting my foot down on certain things. I have boundaries. Instead of being selfish and having rules and trying to control, now I have boundaries and I'm trying to set markers. I'm on my path now and I'm trying to get to a certain place of higher value. And people did not like that at all. In fact, maybe one or two people who I still talk to this day actually saw it and said, that's great. You are awesome for doing that. I still talk to these people to this day. But these people understood where I was trying to go and they saw it in me all along. The rest of the people who continue to see me as low value, and by the way, these people still see me as low value no matter what you do. Sometimes it's hard for people to see you anything else than what you were. And that's fair. That's for them to figure out on their own. I don't have to prove myself to anyone. I know who I am. But getting to the point where you finally say, okay, everyone, now it's time for some life-changing things that happen. And they did. Changed careers, got divorced, had to move on, had to trust who I was, add new things in my life, new challenges, added marathon running, gave up all the distractions in my life, started tightening the belt on money, started understanding self-control, self-respect, self-love, self-discipline, surrounded myself with positive people, getting rid of all the negative people in my life, be drama-free, being braver and bolder. These are all the things that led me to this point, and I'm still trying to go up the mountain. But the goal is always going to be raise the value. The higher you raise it, the people with higher value who have done it, been there, done that, are going to invest in you. That's going to strengthen you. It's going to empower you. You're going to be a better person, not only for yourself, but for those around you. And as we head into intermission, remember, everything and everyone in this world is connected. One of the greatest strengths you will ever have in your life is understanding your value. It's going to push you forward, and it gives you something to work for every single day, because keeping a high value is also, it's just like keeping your body nourished in the proper way and staying physically fit. You know, it's a mindset thing. It encompasses the entire body, mind, body, heart, soul. You have to emotionally invest in yourself. As the people with high quality will invest in you, you have to invest in yourself as a high quality person for yourself. There's no limit to who you can be when you start thinking of things in that aspect. When you can frame your mind around the fact that the higher value you have for yourself, just think of all the possibilities that entails for you. All the opportunities that you would never get by being a toxic person, a selfish person. Think about all the opportunities that you would get. I can tell you firsthand, the opportunities I have right now, and some of the people I have in my life, and some of the goals and aspirations that I have for myself, and the trajectory for what I'm doing, was never, ever going to be possible when I was living a life of selfishness and damn near narcissism. Because selfishness tends to, just like when you have self-love, it will lean towards that needle will keep going to higher quality. When you're selfish, that needle is going to keep going to narcissism and toxicity as a human being, as a person. When you invite that, you invite drama into your world, into your relationships. Life isn't so fun when there's a dark cloud over you all the time, when people are walking on eggshells around you, because at any moment you can turn into a drama-filled demon and morph into a zombie and start dragging people up to a utopian tree and leaving them up there to die all alone after you discarded them. You've eaten them alive and then you discard them in the middle of nowhere. And when you recognize that people are capable of doing that, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs when you realize people can do that. And I've had friends do that. I've had family members do that. I've been in relationships with women who have done that. And it's not a good feeling to know that someone not only views you as a low quality person, because they have to view you as a low quality person or they wouldn't discard you, right? So they only view you as a tool to manipulate, control, and when you are no use for them, they're going to discard you like a broken tool, a piece of trash, and you're done. It's like eating, a piece of chicken. You're going to eat all the flesh off to the bone. You're going to throw the bone in the trash. That's exactly what you are. And when you have a higher value for yourself, you realize there is a protective quality about yourself that emits like a light. People know when you are high value, and they don't even attempt to try that bullshit with you. It's not even an option, but they have to be aware of it. And too often these people are so used to getting their way. They're toxic, they're manipulative, they're liars and cheaters, and they try to get through life hoping that everyone doesn't see it. But lower quality people don't see it. Higher quality people who prioritize their time and their values and they have self-love, they can see it from a mile away. It is not an illusion to these people. And that's what makes it so sad, is that some of these people out here who are toxic truly believe that nobody notices this. A lot of people don't notice it. I guarantee you the people with high quality notice it. I notice it now, and it's something I don't invite in my life anymore. And you have to tell these people this, because they'll keep coming at you. They'll try you and try you and try you. And you have to just say, listen, you bring no value to my life. I don't mean to be rude. I don't want to disrespect you, but you absolutely bring no value to my life. And you're getting all the value from my life. Let's get on the plane. I shouldn't say it it's really horrible to say that, but it's like, let's get on a plane, take this parachute, take this harness, get on. We're going to get to altitude. Goodbye. Pull the parachute and let's see where you land. You know where I'm at. Come find me the next time. Maybe we can take the plane ride together and we'll learn how to fly this plane together and actually get some knowledge and have a good, happy, fun experience together. Because that's an extremely important part. You notice that people with low value aren't the happiest people in the world, are they? They're miserable. They hide it very well. They're emotionless, miserable, unempathetic people with no compassion. Because, like people with self-love and self-discipline and self-respect, it's about them, but it's a selfishness about them. They want what they want. They take and never give back. They take and never give back. And that is a huge problem, because a person with self-love never does that. It's a give and take at all junctures. They have people at a high value that are aligned with them, and these people are giving and receiving equally. Balanced. Life is about balance. That's why I love the Tao religion, because you flow. And Bruce Lee says all the time, you flow like water. Be water. What I love about Tao is it teaches you not to force anything and be in a flow state, meaning you are just allowing life to unfold around you as it sees fit, and you're able to go through anything. Water eventually will go through anything, and it can conform to anything. So when you're able to do that, now you're able to move around and talk to people and go into places and have things, and there's no sense of drama or misery involved. It's actually very beautiful, because once I figured out I can walk in any space and interact with any person at any time of day, doing any type of event or social engagement or any activity, once I realized I can do anything, and that every time I accomplish one of these things, my value goes up and I'm a higher priority person to other people, and people want to spend their valuable, precious time with me, that means something to me. The fact that anybody wants to spend any amount of time with you is a huge compliment to you always, even if you're manipulating people. Because these people see something in you, even if you're not the best person in the world, these people see something in you that's worth being around. And that's a very good thing to have in the back of your mind, is that even the toxic people, there's something good in everyone. Even the most toxic person, sometimes they do have qualities. That's why a narcissist is so good at being a narcissist, because there's always some quality about them that makes you want to keep them in your life. There's some aspect about them that's interesting, and everybody has something about them that's interesting. Everybody has a purpose about them. Again, this goes back to the beginning of the podcast when we were talking about wanting to develop that special something about yourself and turn it into a purpose, perhaps. Wanting to do that. Wanting to raise your value. You can't make somebody see this. You can't make somebody want to do it. They have to do it for themselves. You ultimately do not know the extreme levels of range of emotion and the mental stress people have, and what their true beliefs in their soul is, and what their bodies can physically take every day. You just don't know, and how all that balances together. Again, you get into that flow state, and now you can start seeing these things in people. You start understanding and being able to empathize and look at people and see their limitations. And if these people choose, they will come to you and tell you, hey, this is what's going on. I've been having this going on. And that's why I love being a coach, because it allows me to talk to people freely. I can flow in the relationship. They trust me because I'm a high value person. They can see I value who I am, and they appreciate that I take time out of my schedule to just listen to them. I don't want anything from them. I don't expect anything from them. I'm not going to shove my opinion down their throat. In fact, one important part about being a coach is that you can offer your opinion, but often I'll say, do you want me to talk? Or basically, do you want me to listen to you, or do you want me to give you your opinion? I would just like someone to listen, then talk away. That's their right. I do that to everyone. Would you rather me just listen to you, or would you like my opinion after you get done talking? And a lot of times they don't want your fucking opinion. They just want you to listen. They just want you to listen. This is why men have such a hard time dealing with women, because they always want to fix everything the woman is going through, when a lot of times, most of the time, they just want you to listen. This is why some men are so low in quality when it comes to relationships. I was guilty of that. I always was trying to fix someone's problem. You can't fix the world's problems. When somebody wants you to fix their problem, they'll let you know. They will let you know. And until that happens, you listen to them and you walk away. When they're ready for help, they will come to you and they will say, hey, Tiger, it's time. I need some help. Step into my office. Let's figure this out. Let's see what we can do. If I can't help you, I know some high quality people who can. Why? Because I raised my value higher. So now I have higher value people around me that I can use at my disposal, I shouldn't say my disposal, as I can use as a network assets for people to help other people. It's not always about me. If I can't help you, I know high quality people who can. And that's a great feeling. And these people help me. Free but connected. Free but connected. You want to be in this world knowing that your value is not only just your value, but people can see your circle is also highly valuable. Your things are valuable. The places you work at, the places you go are valuable. It's beautiful when people want to get up every Sunday and go to church. I love that. These people have a purpose at the end of the week. If nothing else, they know Sunday morning I'm going to be someplace getting a positive message. It's better than the people waking up and sleeping in all Sunday, not doing a damn thing with their lives. And then on Monday complaining that another horrible work week. Well, maybe you should have started your work week off with some positivity. You have the people who on the weekends, they go out and they drink all the money away. They wake up Monday morning, I don't feel so good. I can't imagine why. You have a bunch of people who are in a relationship where they're fighting 24 hours a day over and over and over again. My relationship isn't working out. I can't imagine why. Are these people trying to change anything? No, but all of those scenarios are low quality scenarios. There are scenarios that somebody say, hey, would you like to be involved in this? If you raise your hand and say yes, please do me yourself a favor. If you're a guy, reach out, ball your hand up in a fist and punch yourself in between the legs, right in the balls, right now. If that's something you want to be involved with. Take your hand out, open it up, and just slap yourself in the face if you just raise your hand and said that's something you want to be a part of, because you're lowering your value with that. And people will come into your life and they will have these qualities and they get shocked when a high quality person says, I don't want to disrespect you, but we're not aligned. And they don't hear that all the time. This is where woke people make their mark in society. This is where they stand out. People want to know, how does this person stand out? How does this person seem like they have so much high quality more than everyone else? It's because they're not afraid of accepting the fact that they deserve more and want more, and they will stop at nothing to make sure that they have nothing but high quality in their lives. They make themselves the priority in a positive way. They're saying, I love myself too much to have anybody with toxic behavior, narcissistic behavior, drama in their lives. What do you have to value? What do you have of value that's going to bring value to me? And how can we have a good give and take, balanced, aligned relationship? And if it doesn't balance and align, they're gone. It's not worth it. You're not doing yourself any favors, and they're not doing the other person any favors by staying in a relationship that's not in alignment, where somebody's giving and giving and giving and not getting anything in return. That's just crazy. That's like investing in a company and never getting your money back. What is the point? At that point, you're a charity. You're just a donation. You don't want to feel that way. You don't want to feel that way. You have to have people in your life who view you the exact same way. And the only way you can do that is equal value. Value for value. You can't have people looking at you as a ATM machine, as a slot machine. You're not somebody who someone can gamble your life with. You're better than that. You have to view yourself as better than that. And the easiest way of doing that is just knowing everything starts and ends with self-love. Period. You respect and love yourself too much to put yourself in any situation that is not up to par and above where you believe you are in life. The people around you will respect you so much more when you can stand your ground and do that. When you're woke and you understand that the more you put into yourself, the more knowledge you get, the more you open up emotionally, the more you fill your soul spiritually, the more you value your body and actually don't corrupt it and actually make sure it's used for what it's supposed to be used for, is being active and get out and explore in the world. You raise your value. As we wrap this one up, I want to make this perfectly clear. Not every person with low value is a bad person. Just like everybody with high value is not a good person. That's not what the message is for this. And it's evident because we see a lot of people with high value that aren't very nice people. There's a lot of people with high value that are narcissistic. These things can tend to break trends and interweave with each other. That's just a human condition. That's a human experience. That is just what's going to be. It will forever be. And that's just something each individual has to deal with based on who's in your life, what circumstances you're in. And it's up to each individual, again, starting from self-love, for you to figure that out for yourself. Because high quality just because somebody has high quality doesn't mean you have to align with this person. It's all where you want to be. It's relative. What's high quality for one person is low quality for another person. So it's relative to who you are as a person and who you want in your life and who you deserve to have in your life and your happiness. You should be smiling every day. You should be happy. You should wake up every day knowing that the people in your life are the people that are positive. And if they're not positive, they're gone. You shouldn't have to worry about a negative person being in your orbit every single day of your life. Not if you can help it. There's certain relationships you can't do anything about. What do you do in those cases? You limit and distance is what I say. You limit the interactions and you distance yourself from the altercations. When these people come at you with drama, like, you can't get rid of every family member. You can't get rid of, people. If you have, mother of your child, father of your child, there's people in your church that you don't like, you can't get rid of everyone. You're forced to interact with certain people. It's not a case where it's like, I don't like my doctor, I'll just change my doctor. If you're in a school and you have, there's certain people that you're just going to have to deal with. Workplace, there's certain people you're going to have to deal with. Distance and limit your communication with these people, and definitely limit the altercations with these people. Limit the drama. Not worth it. Lowers your value, feeds their ego. We're not in the business of giving gifts here. If you're a high quality person, you don't walk up to someone with a gift and say, here's all I have to offer. Can you hand me that bag right there? The one on your foot? Yeah, that one. No, not that. The one that looks like has dog shit in it. I'll take that one. Yeah. That's not what you want. But too often I see that happening all the time. People are giving and giving and giving out of kindness. They see hope and prosperity in certain people where there is no hope in the people that they're trying to help. And the reason why it's not working is because these people are trying to raise the value of somebody who's not even aware how low their value is in the first place. They haven't woken up to it yet. They haven't woken up to it yet. And I think the biggest problem we have is that, again, going back to the social media thing, just to tie that right back in here, anybody now can fake who they are so well that it is almost impossible to know people with high value and low value unless you spend enough time with them in person. You have to interact with these people. You have to go through all the seasons with them before you can really understand who a person really is and what their integrity is. There are some special people out there who just blow right through that, and you can tell instantly this person is high value. I want to align with them. But when you meet these people and you understand these people, it's an instant alignment and balance. You work through certain things, but you realize that the balance, even though things may have a little bit of a wavelength and you're trying to align, a relationship, you're never going to align perfectly. What you want is you want to be in the same frequency range. You want to at least give yourself the opportunity for a relationship to actually cultivate into something very special. When you have something special, you don't mess that up. You hold on to it and you cultivate it and you grow it. People with low value go against the grain with that. They don't want to cultivate anything. They don't want to grow anything. They want to take, grab, and control, manipulate, and discard. So that's how you can tell when you have high quality, is when you enter a relationship with someone and the first thing that pops in your mind is not what you can get from them, is what you can give to each other. Not what you can get from them, what you can give back and forth equally to and from each other. It's an equal exchange. You're giving them the box of knowledge that you have, they're giving you a box. You're not giving them a box of knowledge and they're giving you a bag of foofy shit. If you don't know what foofer is, go look it up. But I will encourage you to look through your life. Look at the people around you. Look at the people who have been there before you. Are they still in your life? Look at the people who have just entered your life that may be in it for a very long time. Especially if you entered a new job, entered a new relationship. Examine these people. Look at their qualities. Talk to them. Communicate. The only way to really know someone's true intentions is by communicating with them. The more these people talk, the more that they will let you know exactly who they are. That, coupled with their actions, will confirm who they really are. You want to know this as soon as possible. You don't want to go down the gravy train for 10 years and then all of a sudden find out that gravy is actually not gravy. It's something else that's brown, that's watery. And you don't want to get to that place when it's too late and then you're flushed down the toilet with these people. You want to get to a point where you say, I understand this person. Now I get to make a decision whether or not we're in alignment or not. And who knows? Maybe this person is maybe in a different path. They may have said goodbye to you already. That's the beauty of life, is when you can start understanding relationships and you communicate with people the proper way, and you can start putting them in their proper place early on in a relationship and not being fooled by people and manipulated and controlled by people. You're able to have a much more peaceful interaction with people because you're not so much putting your guard up. You just notice the signs and you can choose to freely walk away. The people with high value, you'll feel like you've been pulled toward them. People with low value, you'll feel like you're repelling against them. They will be instantly pushing you away if you value yourself. If you come from a place of self-love, you'll notice. But the problem is so many people, especially high value people and people with empathy, we want to get into this cycle of, well, they'll change. I change, so they will. That is a very bad assumption to believe that someone is capable of changing because you believe that they do. They have to believe they're capable of changing. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. These people are who they are. Most of the time, they're not going to change. That doesn't mean you give up on them. You give them the time and the space to do that. And if they mean well and they do change, they will inevitably, again, you're drawn to people of equal value or higher value. You will be drawn back to these people. You will find an alignment with these people if they are capable of changing, if you feel like they're a little bit of lower value. But you have to examine every relationship. And if they're bringing in nothing but drama and toxicity and manipulation and narcissism to your relationship with them, if it's always negative, why are you wasting your time? Your time is precious. You love yourself too much to give up your quality time for people who don't value your time as valuable or quality time in their eyes. They're looking at you like you're a waste of time if you're not giving them what they want. It is up to you at that point to say, I have too much self-love and self-control, discipline, and respect for myself to remain in this relationship with you under these circumstances. When you're gone on and bettered yourself, or you've raised your value or you respect me enough where we can meet in an alignment somehow, where I'm investing in you and you're investing in me. We're both giving and taking equally, respecting our boundaries, free, but we're also connected. And if you can't understand that, goodbye. The people with higher value, you don't even have to have these conversations with them. Through communicating and through action, you'll see and understand that these people understand you and you understand them. There's nothing to be said. You're just doing the work. You're enjoying the relationship. You're being happy. You're gaining knowledge. They're filling you up emotionally, spiritually. You guys are physically doing things together and pushing yourselves and raising the value equally. You both are trying to fulfill your purpose. You don't have time to waste on drama, toxicity, selfishness, control, manipulation. You're too busy focused on the goal. You have a purpose. You're awakened and you're aware and you're on the go. You're doing what you were called to do. You're doing it with passion and loyalty, commitment. You're honoring the people around you. You're supporting the people who are supporting you. You're overcoming challenges. You're not making excuses. You're forgiving those who need to be forgiven. You're doing all the things that it takes to put yourself in the best position possible to remain at a high quality person and a priority not only for yourself, but for the people around you who are invested in you, fully invested in you, and you hold each other accountable. That's how a good network works. A good community of people of high quality and high value, that's how it works. It doesn't work when you're just thinking about yourself. And the moment you don't get what you want, you leave the group, the relationship, the workplace, you drop the thing that you were working on. That's not a person filled with purpose. That is not a person filled with purpose. You're better than that. You are high quality, you are high value, you have self-love, self-respect, self-control, self-discipline. And as long as you have all those things, you will always be the type of person people will want in their lives because you bring nothing but the highest quality. And it always starts with self-love. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall.